So today's video is a couple of hints and tips about walking down the aisle. So walking down the aisle sounds pretty straightforward, and it is, but there are a couple of things that I see quite often, and I just want to share them with you, and it might help you when you're walking down the aisle. So the first one is if you've got page boys, flower girls, bridesmaids, groomsmaids, anything like that, anyone walking in front of you, the key thing is to let them go first and to let them get all the way down the aisle before you start walking down. Now, if you've got young kids who are going to be walking down in front of you, you might find they get a little bit distracted. They might see mum, dad, grandma, granddad, something like that in the pews or sat down, in the ceremony room, and they'll get distracted. And before you know it, you've got bridesmaids coming down, and then they have to stop because the kiddies have stopped, and then you're coming down the aisle, and before you know it, you've just got this queue of people, and there's not much you can do about that. So my biggest tip for that is just to make sure that you give people enough time to get to the bottom and filter to where they need to go. So the second tip, and this is about the wedding aisle itself. Now, if you've got a venue or a church that's got a very big aisle that you walk down, then this is kind of irrelevant. But if you've got a tight space where you're trying to get you and, say, your dad walking down the aisle together, and if you've paid the venue or the person who is kind of decorating the ceremony room for you, if you've paid for the big candles, the big silver boxed candles that are normally kind of littering and down the aisle. Littering is probably the wrong word, but you get what I'm saying. They're down the sides of all the different chairs and things like that. You'll find that if you've got a big wedding dress and you haven't got much space on that aisle, you will be walking and dragging these all the way down the aisle. So the second tip is just thinking about how big the wedding aisle is and whether you need to have those candles and those candle holders, because it might mean that things just crash as you're walking down and it might not be the wedding entrance that you want. Hopefully the advice that I've given you in this video makes sense. If you've got any queries or questions, just get in touch. But yeah, that's it.